Justice-elect Jill Karofsky, thank you for being with us here at Up North News.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Remind us again how long, when did you first announce how long this campaign had run for you?
I believe I announced in May. I made the decision really last year on Easter. So for me, it has been really a full year, but I think we officially announced sometime in early May.
And yet, despite however long the campaign lasted, it then went 6 days longer. What were those 6 days like?
It was unusual. I mean, it was a space that none of us had ever been in before. I kept myself busy with work. I kept myself busy with my kids, and I kept myself busy making sure I was walking my dog, and I did a lot of running.
No doubt. Now, I think even now you and others must be wrestling with the notion of you won this election, but maybe the election shouldn't have happened this way to begin with. And those are two very valid feelings about how do you balance those, having won, but still having feelings about the conditions that all of this happened in, health-wise and legally speaking.
Yeah, look, this election never should have happened. We never, ever should have put people in a position where they had to choose between their own safety and casting a ballot. And too many people on election day had to make that decision. There was a problem with absentee ballots that didn't get to folks on time, and we were fielding phone calls and text message from people who were absolutely despondent. They didn't feel safe going to the polls, but they wanted their voice to be heard in this election. There was an overt attempt to suppress the vote in this election, and we never will know how many people would have been able to vote had we not had the election, had we not had the election forced on us on April 7th. And I think that the message that we had through our campaign, which was a message of we need to have decisions made on the Supreme Court by people who are not beholden to special interests, I think that all made crystal clear sense to people. People understood that when they saw what happened the Monday night on April 6th, and they saw the Wisconsin State Supreme Court and frankly, the U.S. State Supreme Court say, we're not going to put people first. We're going to put special interests first. We're going to force this election, and you need to risk your safety and go to the polls and vote tomorrow.
So I think I've got two more questions to ask you where you are a politician for just a little bit longer before you become a justice. So in that political vein, first off, for your election, let's assume you're running for re-election 10 years from now, or maybe even for the next Supreme Court election, whenever it is, but especially when you're running, how do you hope that judicial elections look different in Wisconsin, whether through legislation or some other practices?
I'm hoping that now that I'm a member of the Wisconsin State Supreme Court, or I will be starting on August 1st, that my colleagues and I will sit down and we will draft a very clear recusal rule, so that when a substantial amount of money is infused in one of these campaigns, that a justice will not benefit from that. They can take the money, but then they would have to recuse themselves from any case that involved that institution, that organization, or that person. We have got to stop the inflow of special interest money and our judicial campaigns. We have one of the weakest recusal rules in the country, and we have to change that.
So then the last thing I want to ask you from a political standpoint came at the moment that you were winning was also about the time that Katie Rosenberg found out that she was going to be the new mayor of Wausau. She had one of the more colorful victory tweets ever seen, just by yelling "holy balls" in all capital letters. I talked to her yesterday about the feelings, not just for herself, she said, but of your campaign as well. And I asked it in the vein of having seen every woman running for president eventually come up short this time around, what this does mean for Katie, for you, for other women who still have that sense of having to prove something extra when you run for office. Did you have that sense in your race as well? And how do you think that's going to translate going forward to future candidates?
Well, first of all, a hearty congratulations to Katie. She ran an awesome race. I had the opportunity to campaign with her for a while up in Wausau, and I feel like she knew everybody in that city. So she worked so hard. She's going to be a great mayor. And I loved the holy balls tweet that she sent out. That gave me a great hearty laugh. I think it went viral. yes, it is difficult for women to run. I am a single mom of 2 teenagers. I got asked on the campaign trail many times, who's taking care of your kids? People critique your hair, they critique your makeup, they critique what you are wearing, how you present yourself, your voice, how you use your hands when you are communicating with people. There is nothing that isn't critiqued/criticized when you are a woman running for office. And I think I had the great fortune of coming up behind 2 wonderful women, Justice Rebecca Dallett and Judge Lisa Neubauer, and they were incredibly helpful to me, incredibly supportive. And I was really, really fortunate that I had so many good people who had my back and were supporting me this entire election. But there are many, many extra hurdles I believe that women candidates have to overcome in order to get into these races, convince themselves that they can do it, and then to be able to succeed in them.
Incoming Justice Jill Karofsky, thank you again so much for your time. It was a pleasure visiting with you, and we wish you all the best as you begin your term.
Thank you. Stay well, Pat.